Hello, beautiful human being. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. Today, I will be talking to you about 7 things you should not do when you come to Mexico, okay? These are super important for you to know, especially if you have never been here before. These are going to be such key things for you to know and internalize before you come to Mexico. If you are new here, hello, my name is Raquel. I am a Canadian who has been living in Mexico for almost 2 years now, specifically in the Riviera Maya area. I'm currently in Playa del Carmen, and this channel is for anybody who wants to see life here in Mexico and get, inside tips and tricks from someone who has lived the experience. When I came here, I didn't know a lot of things about Mexico, and I've had to learn the hard way, and so I am sharing tips like what I'm sharing with you today, so you don't have to learn the hard way, okay? So let's get into these 7 things you should not do when you come to Mexico. So the first thing, and I think one of the biggest things that I had to get used to coming from Canada and living here in Mexico, was not flushing toilet paper down the toilet.
What?
Yes, in Canada, America, a lot of places around the world, you can flush the toilet paper down the toilet, but here in Mexico, you cannot. So there will always be like a little trash can in the bathroom specifically for toilet paper. Yes, for number 2s as well. And this is because of the plumbing system here. A lot of the pipes that were, that's connected to the sewage drainage system, they are built smaller, and a lot of the connecting points are at 90-degree angles. And so if you try to flush toilet paper down a pipe at a 90-degree angle, it's just going to get stuck. And I have had that happen to me because I have gone 27 years of my life of flushing toilet paper down the toilet, and then moving to Mexico, suddenly having to stop that. So I've definitely run into a situation where toilet paper went down the toilet and it ended up clogging the toilet. So definitely don't do that. One of the biggest concerns I had when putting the toilet paper into the garbage was the smell, but after living here and after doing it for a very long time, I truly haven't noticed any smell whatsoever. So do not worry about it. It is just something, new and different that you have to get used to. The second thing that you should not do when you come to Mexico is rely on your credit or debit cards or American dollars. Yes, there are a lot of places here that accept, credit cards, debit cards. Like I use my debit card and credit card where I can use them. And there are, quite a few places and establishments here in Mexico where they do accept dollars, but honestly, pesos is king here. So if you are visiting from another country, make sure to change your money into pesos, especially if you plan on going out and going to smaller local establishments and things like that. A lot of these places only accept cash, and oftentimes they will only take pesos. So definitely exchange the money that you have for pesos. The third thing that you should not do, and I think this is one of the bigger ones because I have seen and read about so many people falling victim to this, is taking taxis at the airport or taking a taxi right in the center of town. So if you have ever been to the airport here in Cancun, you will know how crazy it is. There are crowds of people outside, and there are also a ton of people who are like taxi representatives who have their signs and they're yelling at you and they're like, taxi, taxi, hey, you need a taxi, taxi, here, there, taxi. You don't want to go with them because they are going to charge you an insane amount of money just to get you to where you're going. Like, for example, a taxi from the Cancun airport to Playa del Carmen will probably run you a good 80 to 100 USD when you can take the local ADO bus for like $20 and get to your destination the same way. And also in the airport, there are a lot of taxi services who try to scam you going between the airport terminals. I literally just read a news article yesterday about a taxi driver charging someone 1,000 USD just to go from Terminal 4 to Terminal 3. I mean, that is insane, but in the end, he ended up calling the authorities and they actually ended up arresting that taxi driver and charging him. So now he is in jail, and luckily the guy got his money back. But yeah, that's something that you should definitely be aware of. Do not take any of the taxis there. Like, arrange a ride beforehand. I know a lot of resorts and hotels, they will arrange for a shuttle to come pick you up, so that is the way to go. Or like I mentioned, taking the ADO bus from the airport to wherever you're going. That is the best bet. And you also want to avoid the taxis in the centro. Like, if you are in Tulum in the center, if you're in Playa del Carmen in the center, you're going to see a bunch of taxis on all of the streets that are right like in the center hub, usually, you know, Quinta Avenue, Fifth Avenue, those places where all of the tourists are. They are going to be posted up there on the streets. They're going to be outside with their signs as well, and they're going to be like, taxi, taxi, taxi. Do not take these taxis. Why? Again, because they are going to charge you ridiculous amounts of money just to get to where you're going. Like, for example, a taxi to my house from the center is about a 10 to 15 minute drive. And usually I pay about 80 pesos, maximum 100 pesos for that trip. But if you go with the taxis in the center, they charge 200 pesos for the exact same journey. So definitely don't take those taxis. I would advise that you walk away from the center area for like a good 10 minutes and then like hail and flag down a taxi to go with, because that is how you're going to avoid those crazy, ridiculous, like double, triple priced taxis that are sitting and waiting for you in the center. The fourth thing that you shouldn't do when you come to Mexico is wear flashy jewelry, flashy clothes, flashing your money everywhere. That is a no-go, okay? As much as I would, you know, like to go to the Gucci store and get my Fenty and my Prada, okay, no, that's not going to fly here because there are people watching. Okay, and you won't even know it. There are people watching you, watching what you have on, and they will take advantage of that. If they see or assume you have money in any type of way, they will come for you. Okay, and I don't want you to take this the wrong way. Like, I don't want you to be scared or just like on the lookout, always looking over your shoulder, worrying that someone's watching you. Like, no, like I have never experienced that before, but this happens literally like anywhere in the world. Anybody can see you, you know, wearing anything. You can become a target to anyone, anywhere in the world, if you are making it a point to wear your flashy clothes, show off your jewelry, you know, take out your wallet with your big wad of cash. Like, anywhere in the world, that's just going to draw eyes to you. And here, they definitely ain't wasting no time. So I don't recommend you, if you have like an engagement ring on, I don't recommend you bringing that. I recommend getting a fake one. There was actually an incident in Tulum where I read this guy, he was wearing a Rolex and somebody held him up at gunpoint trying to take his watch from him. And who could blame the guy? Like, you got like 10 stacks on your wrist and you're out here in this city, in this town where there are people living, you know, below the means, living in poverty and you expect them not to do anything when they see your Rolex. Okay, but again, please don't let this deter you from coming as long as you look and blend in with everybody else and you don't look like you have crazy amounts of money. Like you're just wearing like normal clothes like this and nothing flashy. Like you are 100% fine. Oh my God, I just realized after I filmed this and it was starting to edit it, I only had 6 things that I talked about. So I'm going to mention, the next one, the missing one, which is number 5, and that is renting a car. So this is specifically if you are planning to go on road trips, go to different, cities and things near the town that you're visiting in the Riviera Maya, because there are a lot of potholes. The road conditions just are not the best here. And if you watched my story time video of my Latin American road trip through hell, I talk about the road conditions there, and one of my tips there also was to rent a truck or SUV, and the same thing applies here in Mexico. Like there are a lot of unpaved roads, a lot of bumps, a lot of potholes and everything like that. So just to be safe, I would highly suggest that you rent a truck or SUV if you are going the car rental route. If you didn't catch that story time, I'm going to link it below because that was an insane story that I experienced while road tripping through Latin America. The 6th thing that you should not do when you come to Mexico is assume people are just going to cater to you in English. This is a huge thing that I see with a lot of tourists out here. And there are a lot of people here that do speak both Spanish and English, but you're in Mexico. I would encourage this, like, regardless of where you are, whether it's in Mexico or another part of the world, whatever, anywhere that speaks another language, I would recommend you learning the basics that you need to know to get by and survive and do the things that you need to do. If somebody else from another country didn't know English and came to Canada or came to the United States and they started talking to you in their language, like, you'd obviously be like, okay, bro, like, learn English, like, what are you doing? So same thing applies here. It's like, if you're always expecting to get catered to and talked to in English. And I do know there is a good percentage of the population who really look down on foreigners who come in and don't learn Spanish and want to stay here and be part of the land, use the resources, sometimes take advantage of, the beauty and the resources here. And I don't blame them. I understand where they're coming from. So it's just important to know, especially if you are considering a longer term stay here in Mexico, it's important to just start to learn the basics of the language and just get integrated with the culture a lot more. And people love it. Like, people love it when, you at least try and attempt in Spanish and to speak to them. Like, I'm still working on my confidence when I speak Spanish, so I'm a little bit like shy and reserved when I do talk in Spanish, but it's the effort that really counts at the end of the day. So if you haven't already, definitely get to learning. What really helped me learn were 2 things. This one app called Lingualift, and this is a self-paced course app that you go through, but it is really in-depth. And if you're the type of person who learns from like reading and repeating and memorizing things, definitely helpful for you. And that's where I got like my basic understanding of Spanish. And what really accelerated my learning in Spanish was working with a tutor. I have been using the Preply app, and Preply is basically just a huge database of tutors from many different languages. And yeah, they just have their profiles on there. You can see their credentials, you can see how many reviews they have, you can see what languages they offer and the price that they offer them at. And you can pick whatever tutor you want to go with. You can pick a subscription, you can buy different hours. And what I like about it the most is that there are different tutors from like different Spanish speaking countries on there that you can choose from. So I am learning from a tutor who is Mexican because I am in Mexico, but they also have like Argentinian tutors. They have ones from Colombia, they have ones from Spain, like all of these different regions, because even though yes, the base language is the same in all of these countries, there are different like dialects and slangs and things like that that you need to know that are going to be different in every single Latin American country that you go to. So I just renewed my subscription on Preply because that is what truly got me from beginner level to intermediate level, and I want to continue it because I want to be way more fluent than I am now and be able to talk a lot more to, you know, my boyfriend's family or just anybody, any of the locals that I meet here. I want to make more friends, you know, that are actually Mexican and are fluent in Spanish as well, and I want to be able to have that dialogue back and forth. So highly recommend Preply if you like learning from like one-on-one with a teacher. And the last thing that you should not do when you come to Mexico is drink the tap water. Again, like the toilet paper in the garbage situation, this was another thing that was really interesting for me to work through and get used to, because back in Canada, I would just take the water from the tap, and I have my, you know, reusable water bottle that I would just, you know, open the tap, fill it up, or like cooking with the tap water too. You know, you don't think about it in Canada. You just literally fill up your pot and like cook, and that's it. But here you can't do that. You can't drink the water. You can only shower in the water, wash your dishes in the water, and wash your produce and fruits in the water, which was always weird to me because it's like, how can I not consume the water, but I can wash my fruits and vegetables in the water? But it is safe if you have like a few drops of water, okay? Like you are not going to experience any symptoms from that. Where the symptoms and the sickness and uncomfortableness starts to come in is when you actually like, you have a cup of water and you take like a few sips from it, like then you're gonna start to feel something. But like a few drops from like washing your food or whatever, that's not going to affect anything. At least it hasn't for me. Maybe if you have a sensitive stomach, that's a different story. And you can always wash, you know, your fruit and produce in like the clean, drinkable water that's available. That's totally an option for you. Point is, do not drink the tap water, okay? And I will also add that Brita filters and like filters like that do not work with this water. When I first came, the friend that I came with, she brought, I think it was like a Brita filter, and we tried. We put the water, you know, in the Brita filter and waited for it to do its thing. And we took one sip and instantly we knew it was a no-go. So yeah, since then we have just been purchasing, you know, the clean, drinkable water in the convenience stores. And I have heard of people like cooking like pasta or cooking like potatoes or like things like that in the tap water, because it's like being cooked and whatever, there's a heat element there and maybe it might not make you sick. But honestly, I do not take that chance. Like I am cooking everything in that clean filtered water that I bought from the store, and I highly suggest that you do too. Yeah, there's just a lot of like inadequate infrastructure. There's a lot of like microbial little things in there, like bacteria, parasites. There is just like runoff from agriculture and things like that that get into the water that aren't filtered out properly, and so that's why you can't drink the tap water. Although there was one advertisement I remember in Tulum, I don't know if the building is finished, but they were advertising like drink from the tap. Like that was their selling feature for buying this apartment in Tulum. And I just had to laugh at myself. Like that is so hilarious that the selling feature with this apartment is drinking from the tap. Like, I don't know if I trust that, but yeah, I thought that was funny. And there you have it. Those are 7 things that you should not do when you visit Mexico. Let me know in the comments below if any of these surprised you, or if you have any of your own. If you have visited Mexico before, I'm curious to know what you think you shouldn't do when you visit Mexico. Or if you have any questions about any of this in general, again, feel free to leave it in the comments and I will be happy to get back to you. So thank you so much for watching this video. Again, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, because I'm going to continue to bring you lots of different tips and fun little things about Mexico, and continue just sharing my life and what I get up to here in Playa del Carmen. So thank you so much. I appreciate you and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye.